Kit Harington, a.k.a. Jon Snow, bastard son of the House of Stark.
Yep.
I love the way that just rolls off the tongue.
Doesn't
Bastard
it?
son.
Yeah.
So, Kit, you bastard.
I'm going to get that a lot, I think.
Were you, first of all, Game of Thrones, debuting here on the movie network. We're on HBO Canada, right? The HBO Canada. It's fabulous, in my humble critic's opinion.
Thank you.
Absolutely loved it. I never read the books.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with the books before you?
I wasn't familiar with the books before I got the part. I got the part, and then I immediately, jumped on the books, and I wanted to only read the first one, you know, and so as not to get too far ahead of myself. But inevitably, I got hooked, and also you've got a character that's already written down, so I was too intrigued, and I read the whole thing, which was useful. But now I'm just trying to shut the rest out of my mind, you know.
Because you got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And he's a really interesting character to be playing.
Yeah, I mean he's great. He's kind of like, when I read the pilot when I was auditioning for it, immediately I was like, this guy's great. He's troubled. He's anxious. He's got this mystery about him that he doesn't know who his parents are or his mother is, and so it instantly gives you that kind of he's ambitious, but he's held back because of who he is in the world that we set it. He's tantamount to nothing, being a bastard child. So he has to go off to this order, to this Night's Watch. It's his only option, and it's what he wants to do. But
until he gets there, I mean, this is not a fun place to be hanging out.
No,
it's like the medieval equivalent of Siberia.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of, the rest of them, a lot of the series was shot in Malta. Yeah. And they were, surrounded by, scantily dressed women, and the sun was shining, and everyone was beautiful and tanned.
And you're stuck in Ireland in the middle of winter.
And there's me. Belfast was great, don't get me wrong, but it was cold, and I was surrounded by grubby, dirty men, in half-built castles, and so it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, again, I'm only 6 hours in, which is really frustrating because now I have to wait till June to catch up on the story. Yeah. But your character arc already is really interesting. Like he's assembling his like little entourage. Clearly these guys are going to be his pals on down through the line. The mystery of the mother starts to blossom. It's a really interesting character arc. Are you? You had read the book, so you knew sort of where this guy's going.
Yeah, I mean, I knew. There's all sorts of theories about who his mother is, and we don't know that yet at all. And yeah, I mean, it was interesting to read the books and kind of get a grips with him. And I think the whole entourage thing at the Wall's interesting because actually he really, at the heart of it, he wants to be his father. He wants to be this renowned, hard fighting, loyal servant. He wants to be that man, and so he's adopted from a young age, I think, these clear leadership qualities. This clear kind of code that his father has. So he has that about him, but at the same time he has this unknown quantity, I think, which is this flame in him, this anger. This thing that bubbles up every now and again, and he can't keep under control, which is very unlike his father. So that's obviously his mother's side, this unknown quantity, this very fiery side to him, which is interesting.
And these leadership qualities are kind of pulled out of him, they're because of the situation. I mean, it's not like he comes in there, the glowing knight. These things come out of him under duress, which is again an interesting journey for an actor, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's he doesn't expect what happens to his family or that things go wrong as they do in the series. So he goes to the Night's Watch thinking, okay, I'm going to rise to the top here. I'm going to prove to my family. I'm going to prove to everyone I'm not just a bastard child. I'm a leader. I'm a good leader, and I have strong qualities about me. But when he gets there, obviously he has to swear an oath. He'll stay there, and he forsakes his loyalty to his family, forsakes his loyalty to the kingdoms, and then suddenly things change, and he's a young man. He doesn't quite know what he's got himself into. So it's that story that he has to fight. He has this fight in him. That is he loyal to his brother? Is he loyal to his family, or is he now loyal to the Night's Watch? And inevitably he has to decide that.
It's such a colourful, wonderful cast of characters, but casting-wise, I mean, you got Sean Bean, you've got Peter Dinklage, who's amazing in this.
Yeah, he is incredible.
God, what a great
Really
role.
good.
Great character. What's it like working with these? Because I looked you up before I came over, as I'm obligated to do on the Internet Movie Database, and this is like the first credit you've got there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I came straight out of drama school, and I was very fortunate. I went into a great play in the National Theatre in London called War Horse, which was great for me and great for my career.
War Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a year in. I did 6 months in the National Theatre and 6 months in the West End, and it was brilliant. And I came to the end of that, and obviously my next move, I wanted to do some TV, I wanted to do film, I wanted to do everything, you know, keep doing theatre, but I wanted to, and this HBO pilot came up. Perfect, absolutely perfect. So I was really lucky to get that. And it's been a long process from pilot to now. It's about a year and a half. So it's taken up a lot of my life, as it were. But I'm glad it has, because I'm so happy with it, or so excited about it.
Was that a big leap, just in terms of craft, going from theater school to theater, and then into the very different process of making a TV show? And I assume from this, just from the quality of the production and the style of production, it's very much like shooting a movie, more so than a series.
Yeah, it's very much like shooting a movie. Like, I mean, it's I'm shooting a movie now, so I'm starting to realise how similar it was. But it's you know, TV and film are supposed to be different, but this was very similar, I think. And yeah, it was a big change. Actually, I was trained in theatre for 3 years at a drama school that, you know, specifically theatre trained. Very little film training. So getting onto doing the pilot was a big shock in a way. You know, a lot of people said it's just like theatre, don't do anything different, you know, do exactly the same thing. And I got there and it was like, no, this is different. This is, and I think the scariest thing I find about film and TV, the thing that keeps me up at night, is that you do it, you do 4 or 5 takes, it's out there, you go home, you can't touch it.
Can't change it tomorrow night.
Can't change it tomorrow night, and you
plus
want to, you desperately want to.
Oh, of course, and plus it's right up there. I mean, you got to dial it down.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, because the camera is like right in your face, and
Yeah.
you're used to having. But then again, you're also used to having that instant feedback from an audience, that energy that you can pull from them.
Exactly, and with this you have to wait 6 months to get that feedback and see what it was actually like, and you've no idea because you're so involved with it. It's hard to be objective. I don't know. I love them both, but I find film more terrifying. I think because you do it and it's out there and you can't touch it, and once you've done it, and then I have sleepless nights over it. You know? I think every actor does.
You'll get used to this eventually, although some never do. I know Donald Sutherland, a great Canadian actor, never watched any of his movies because he couldn't bear to.
Yeah.
He started doing it now, but it's tough, especially coming from a theater background, because you always find something new. You can finesse it the next night.
You can change theatre every night. I mean, you do bad performance one night, you can change what you did the next night, and that's the lovely thing about theatre. It's live, and you can tell what the audience is feeling and thinking, whether they're with you. This is very different, and it'll take a while to get used to, but it's great in other ways.
Well, and like, for example, I would imagine, I mean, on a stage you have to create your reality, whereas here you're in the middle of these amazing sets and locales, and I mean, do you ever like lose yourself in the moment when you're there?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few moments doing Game of Thrones where, you know, you're very into it and very kind of concentrated on what you're doing and constantly trying to improve and get it better and better and better. But every now and again you have a moment, and I had a couple where it was just on set in this cloak with this sword in this amazing castle that they built, and you just kind of go, this is really cool, this is just cool, and this is what I became an actor to do, is to live this kind of world. And you know, it's every young actor's dream to play those parts where you're a badass sword fighter.
Well, I was saying, and every kid's dream.
Yeah.
You know, you get to have sword fights. Did you do any fight training in theater, and what was different, and if so, in doing it for a camera?
I did a course at drama school, which was fight training, which I suppose helped for this, but it was a while ago. And so that did help, and I knew the basics of it. But with this was it needs to look really right. It needs to look like he knew what he was doing. You know, he's been fighting his whole life. He's
Yeah.
been training.
His style is very effortless. I mean, it's almost it's so ingrained in him. So
Yeah.
you had to like master it and then look like you were thinking about it.
Yeah, I think what they wanted to do with the series, which is interesting, is that they wanted to make. There's a lot of fighting, obviously, a lot of sword fighters, a lot of good swordsmen, but they wanted to make sure everyone's fighting style was specific, you know. And the Starks, they're a northern family, they're a gritty northern family, and I think what Buster, the fight coordinator, wanted to get was that they use their fists and their hands as well as their sword, you know, because they're grittier, they're dirtier. The people from the south, like Jaime Lannister, you know, much more kind of eloquent with their sword, don't use their hands and feet and fists as much, you know. So that's quite a nice. So once he explained that to me, that was why we were doing this elbow here and that kick there.
So there is a
Quite
class system even in hand-to-hand combat.
Exactly, and I think that's right that you get that detail, that not everyone, you know, uses the sword in the same way, because you've got these different areas. People use, you know, have been brought up to fight in different styles.
Yeah, yeah. So now you're shooting a film here in Toronto. Is this the Silent Hill?
Yeah, Silent Hill.
Which is in 3D.
It is in 3D.
Now there's a big leap.
Do you know what? It kind of, I was wondering if it would make any difference as to an actor.
Yeah.
And so far, not really. You know, it's just that it's being filmed in 3D, and you're very unaware of that until you go back and everyone's got their 3D glasses on and they're watching what you're doing in 3D. But as far as an actor goes, you're doing the same thing. It's still, there's the camera, there's your mark. You know, and so I've not found it any different. Sometimes setups take a bit longer because you're dealing with more cameras, but yeah, it's
Bottom
quite
line,
exciting.
you're still in 3D, even if it's in 2D.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't make a difference. I
You're
don't think.
still existing in a three-dimensional
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, but it'd be exciting to watch it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I'm very excited for this series. A lot of people are really. I mean, the pressure is on. So a lot of people are really anticipating this.
I know.
But I can't see them being disappointed.
I hope not. There's a great fan base
Yeah.
attached to this, and they're a really great group of people. We've been lucky enough to meet them, and you know, in Belfast, and I hope they're pleased with the outcome. I think they will be.
And I think the wonderful thing is you don't have to have read the books. There are. It works. I think equally. Having not read them, I can't really say, but I think, but coming to it not knowing anything about it, I immediately got sucked into the story and the characters. So.
Good.
Like I said, now I got to wait till June.
Yeah.
Unless you want to, once you turn the camera off, maybe you could tell me what's coming up. Just between
I'm
us.
not going to tell you. It'll spoil it. But
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
this.
very
This
much.
was really fun.
Thank you.